How much money do you need to buy a $500,000 house? In this example, I'm specifically using Hamilton, but this can be applied to anywhere in Ontario outside of Toronto. In this video, I go through different scenarios from putting 5% down to putting 20% down and everything in between. We're going to go through how much your monthly costs are and how much your closing costs are, so you're exactly clear on how much money you'll need to buy a $500,000 house. My name is Morgan Little. I'm a realtor here in Hamilton. If I can ever do anything to help in your journey, feel free to reach out, book a call using the Calendly link below, and download my free buyer guide while you at it, or simply shoot me a text and I'm happy to have a chat. Now, let's get into it. Okay, let's see how much money you need to buy a $500,000 house in Hamilton. Starting here, we're going to go with a house price of $500,000. We're going to change that from Toronto to Hamilton, Ontario. Oh, change that from Hamilton to Hamilton, Ontario. There we go, because that will make a big difference with something I'll talk about later here. So this rate hub calculator really is handy, breaks down different options. So if you're putting 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% down, and how much you'll need for each. So going through the first scenario with only 5% down, if you're a first-time home buyer, that would be $25,000. Because you are putting down less than 5%, you will have to have CMHC insurance, which you'll see here, of $19,000. That is tacked on to your mortgage. It's not something you have to pay up front, but it does bring the total of your mortgage back up to $494,000. Based on a 25-year, you know what? We can get 30-year AMs now, so let's see what we can do with that. A rate of 3.79%, because if you do have an insured mortgage, you often get a bit of a lower rate. So this is the current rate. We're here at basically May 2025. And so monthly payments, you're looking at a mortgage payment of $22.95 based on this 5% down. Let's go through it 10%. 10% down, you're looking at $50,000 down. You're in CMHC insurance that is required would be a little bit less, $13,950. Bring your total mortgage to $463,950. Let's bring that to a 30-year as well. You're looking at a very similar rate here. So monthly with 10% down on a $500,000 house, you're looking at a monthly mortgage of $2,156. Now, if you have 15% down, you'd be putting $75,000 down, CMHC mortgage of $11,900, bringing your total mortgage to $436,900. Bring that to a 30-year AM, and you got, same rate. You're still getting the same rate because you're insured, and you're looking at just over $2,000 a month. Now, if you are going to put 20% down, which would be $100,000 on a $500,000 house, you would not be required to have CMHC insurance. So your mortgage would be $400 based on we'll go 30-year AM as well. So your rate here is a bit higher, right? 4.24%. Do you see how that switched? When we had it at 25-year amortization, you actually had a bit of a lower rate, 4.09%. You'd be looking at $2,124 a month if you have a 30-year amortization. And what that does is that extends the length of the time you're going to pay back that. So you have a little bit of a higher rate. These go in 5-year terms. Generally speaking, you can get less. These are based on 5-year terms. So for 5 years, at 30 years, you'd have a 4.24% amortization, paying just over $1,950 a month. Doesn't end there though. That's not your only cost. That's your mortgage cost. So if you are a first-time home buyer, like we discussed, and you'd have to be in order to get one of these, 5, 10, 15% down, I will say there are options out there for down payment assistance with a company called Arborough, where they have shared equity in your home. For those who only have maybe 5% down, this will allow you to have a bigger piece down, therefore a lower mortgage, and then you would split the equity with them once you sold the house. For more information for that, reach out to me. I'm going to have a link below that you can click for more info as well. But let's keep looking here. If you're a first-time home buyer, we're going to go yes in this scenario. You actually get a $4,000 rebate. So the land transfer tax, this is based on Hamilton, so you only have the provincial land transfer tax. Originally, when I talked about being in Toronto versus Hamilton, I said there's a difference. In Toronto, there's actually double land transfer. There is a municipal land transfer tax on top of the or on top of the provincial, excuse me. So with your first-time homebuyer rebate here, you have $2,475 of land transfer tax that is owed on closing. So that would be part of your closing costs. You need to make sure that you budget for that. So let's break this down with the cash needed to close. Based on your 5% down payment, $25,000. Land transfer tax that we just went through, $2,475. You have PST on the mortgage insurance. So that looks like it is actually paid upfront. And then you have your lawyer fees of, that's $1,000 low. You're probably more like at least $1,500 to $2,000, we'll call it. Title insurance is something that you're generally required to get. Home inspection as well, you're probably going to want to have. There may be an appraisal fee. We'll keep those in there. This is for a house. Maybe a little different for a condo because you would have a status certificate to review. You may not have a home inspection. So looking at cash to close here, right? $25,000 plus all your closing costs. You're looking at almost $33,000. Plus then you want to consider your moving costs as well, right? And then the transfer of any utilities, if there's any cost for breaking any contracts, stuff like that. Now let's break it down monthly. So monthly expenses here, you have your mortgage payment of $2,295. You have property tax. This is based on $417 a month. Utilities, $185. What is that including? You know what? Those are probably quite a bit higher than that, to be honest. If you're looking at gas, water, and electricity, you're probably looking at more like $300 to $400 a month, right? Property insurance, $50 a month. Phone, $60. Cable, if you have cable, and internet, $60 a month. So yeah, those are pretty accurate, I think. So you're looking at monthly here, $3,252 a month for housing costs. You're also going to want to include repairs and maintenance, like a monthly budget that you put aside for repairs that will need to be done in your house. Rule of thumb, anywhere from 2 to 5% of the total cost of your home should be set aside originally. Or you can just do monthly installments into a separate account that's going to be there untouched for when you need repairs done to your house. So that is one that people often just overlook, forget about it. It doesn't get enough attention. So we're going to include that as well. So you're looking at $3,252 here, and call it another, at least $200 a month into that fund. So we're looking at like $3,500 here for your housing costs. This is, before you eat, before you drive a car, before you have any fun, this is your cost. 5% down on a $500,000 house. Okay, let's go back to the scenario where we put 20% down. Obviously, it'll change from 10 to 15%, but you get an idea with an insured mortgage, 5% down. Let's go down to our costs if we're looking at putting down 20%. Bam, scenario 4. Okay, so you have $100,000 you put down. Land transfer tax, you still get that $4,000 rebate as a first-time home buyer. So your land transfer tax doesn't change, $2,475. You also don't have any tax on your mortgage insurance because you're not getting mortgage insurance because you put 20% down, right? So lawyer fees are going to look about the same, $2,000. Title insurance, home inspection, appraisal fee. So you're looking at $106,175 down on closing. That's what you need. Plus, again, your moving costs, any fees that you might have associated with utilities and stuff like that. And monthly, you're looking at a mortgage payment of $2,000 a month. Property tax, everything else remains the same here. Your mortgage has gone down. So you're looking at $2,914. What was the amount we had previously here? Let's take a look. On the other scenario, that down, you're looking at $3,250 a month. And now in scenario 4 with 20% down, yes, you put a lot more money down, but you're at $2,900 per month. So those are your couple options there, whether you're putting 5%, whether you're putting 10% down or 20% down, excuse me. Again, if I can be of any help, or if you want to talk about your specific scenario, happy to have a chat. Reach out, book a call using the link below. Download my buyer's guide. That's going to help clarify things for you as well. And I'll see you on the next one.